An important thing in planning your gaming session is to make sure that you have enough time. Because time is important. You have time to get together, you have time for setup, you have to shoot the shit a little bit because you haven't talked to somebody in at least a few days or in person in over 6 months. That's how the party started their session, because my players were coming in from California to Ohio, so this was the first time I was going to be able to sit down and play at the table with all of them. And we planned to get around noon, and I had to get going by 5 or so, and at 3 o'clock we started playing. Motherfucker. Either way, when last we left our heroes, they were heading towards Oakhurst and the Sunless Citadel, but no, because I didn't want to get into that long thing while we had a session at a table instead over the Skype. I had to come up with something else. And this is what I came up with. My name is Patrick, and this is the Campaign Diary. The party was about a day out of Oakhurst. It's getting towards evening. Alina and Hetfield are good to go because they've been doing this for a little while. But their new NPC character, Greta, this was her first time away from home, and she was feeling kind of footsore and lonely, and they'd been on the road for days, and she wanted to sleep in an inn. So as darkness was coming around, they didn't see any signs of major civilization, but they did spot an old manor house. It looked like there were some lights on, and there was a sign indicating that they would take in boarders for the night. Because what it looks like is they had converted this manor house to an inn of sorts, more or less. You can tell it's probably not a real inn, because it's me planning things. So they get in there. There's a little bit back and forth because Hetfield discovers that among the other guests, there's another bard. So they get into some dueling guitar action. Strangely, it sounds like that one AC/DC song with the bagpipes. I'm forgetting the name of it, and it'll probably appear down below because I'm slipping. Hetfield loses because he can't roll worth a shit. Of course, I didn't tell him that he was rolling against his own character stats, so it was a straight-up roll fest. And I was rolling well. After that, there was a little dance-off, which he actually managed to succeed at, and some gold coins were tossed, and everyone had a good time. Greta ate heavily. Alina ate and enjoyed the company of the others. They did have the sense to get themselves a private room, a private party room, so they could sleep all together as a party, rather than getting separated. Which was good, because when I had them roll, it turned out the private rooms, one of which held the bard that Hetfield had faced, were attacked. The party, more specifically Alina, came out just in time to see a body being dragged into what looked like it could have been a secret passage under the stairs. She goes in, alerts the others, and they start gearing up. Meanwhile, she gets invisible and goes out. Of course, while she's doing this, a couple other cult members come out. She manages to edge past them, although they heard her, they couldn't see her because she'd gone invisible. Yay for the invisibility spell. So naturally a fight breaks out because Hetfield opens the door and runs into them. Greta starts tearing into him, and Alina runs down the hallway, gets kind of stuck in the back corner, and, well, is running for her ass. So after Misty stepping her ass into the room, they finish off the cultists. They grab everyone, gather in the common sleeping room, and set guards while Alina and Greta heal up because they got their ass kicked a little bit. Hetfield, in the process, had taken a trip upstairs, got a couple people who were sleeping upstairs and got them down to safety, and after getting them, went into the innkeeper's room. After picking the lock handily, he goes in, finds a cool cape of billowing, which, if you don't know from Xanathar's Guide, is this really cool magic cape that you can take an action and make it billow dramatically behind you. They had gathered everybody in the room because they discovered that the 2 private rooms on the ground floor, people had been dragged out, there were blood stains, and no signs of them. Uh-oh, that could be a problem. So after resting, they discussed what they needed to do, and we ran out of time. So we had to owe another session to finish this adventure while everybody was still in Ohio. One of us had to Skype in from Cincinnati on her phone with really crappy reception. Oh well. We still managed to figure things out. The party went upstairs and explored a little further. They found the room where all the cultists had been holing up and holding profane rituals and all other cool things. Hetfield tried to find a secret door in a room by closing the other door, which completely failed miserably because I hadn't seen the movie he was referencing. While they were doing so, they heard screams from downstairs, as apparently somebody was shooting through the ceiling and one guy had been driven mad. They went upstairs, found the hidden door, and found some cultist acolytes. These guys were pretty quickly killed deader than hell. But they had been shooting out the windows, shooting through the floor, and generally dicking up everybody in a glorious way that wasn't the party. The great thing about the internet is that you can literally find anything. I found these guys. It was a site, initially Lars found it on Imager, and I followed it back to the site. These guys, these are based on a game called Darkest Dungeon, and I threw a good chunk of these guys at the party. It was glorious. But I'll drop the link below to that and to the map that we're using, which, again, Dyson's Dodecahedron, because I love that site. It's got the coolest maps in the world. If I actually showed the party all the maps, it would be cooler. But I had planned for a session there, so I was going to be drawing things out, and for the most part, I ended up holding the map up. I ended up folding and holding the map up real close like this. That didn't work too well. Especially when you're holding it up and somebody's trying to see it on a damned iPhone. So they sent Greta to investigate a door that had been rattling and doing weird things. That door that had been rattling? Well, Greta pulls the barring off the door and explodes open, and a crazy guy comes out and immediately starts wreaking havoc. They fight him and drop him fairly easily, but yeah, it was a little bit of a shaky moment. The cool thing was I got him to deplete a good amount of spells. Now, they explored the rest of the house. They found some cool items. Hetfield had picked up the bagpipes of the bard when he found them in the room, but upstairs he found a rapier that belonged to the bard, which was a nice little +1 rapier because I'd like Hetfield to do more than just stabby gently or shoot crossbow bolts ineffectively. Maybe he'll get a little more powerful one day. Maybe. So that exploration took a little while, and we were running short on, and we were starting to run a little short on time because we'd been playing a couple hours on our second session with Alina being phoned in, quite literally. So they finally decided to descend into the basement, just the 3 of them, because all the other NPCs had no desire to go down with them. They've come down and find the cultist brawlers standing there doing a ritual. They had the sense to grab some robes and pretend to be them. Everyone was able to succeed on deception checks as they came down, and they got within striking range, and out came the thunder waves. Boom, able to get close. Out came Web and Thunder Wave. Those guys got tangled, blasted, and were pretty much dead on the ground. There were 4 skeletons chained to the back wall. Greta smashed one before my cultists ran out and successfully freed them. It was then that Hetfield broke out some dissonant whispers and sent one of them running down a corridor where my big bad, known as the Prophet, was waiting. Just so you know, let me look at the stats on this guy. He's challenge rating is 6. He's got 157 hit points. He takes two attacks. He uses something called Calamitous Prognostication and makes one other attack. Any creature under the effect of that prognostication must make a DC 14 saving throw at the beginning of the prophet's turn, or take 68 bludgeoning damage. Alina got hit first. She failed her save, and pretty much dropped with so much damage I just rolled. It says, yeah, you're unconscious. That's the advantage of 5e, is if you drop unconscious, you drop to 0 hit points, and then you start making death saves. You don't get killed instantly when you get somewhere along the lines of average of 27 damage and you have 10 hit points left. Or was it 8? It was not many hit points. The real problem was the party had burned most of their spells at this point. Alina was brought back by Hetfield's healing word, but I miscalculated. She had no spells left, and I was counting on her to throw something at this creature. Luckily, I had NPCs upstairs, and one of them just happened to know a little spell called Witch Bolt. Problem here is that Alina's player had to go. She had family start pouring in, and her phone was near dying, so we had to quick finish the scenario. So, it came down to that NPC popping down the stairs, unleashing Witch Bolt. Everybody else pretty much just started wailing. Luckily, my rolls were favoring attacks hitting Greta with physical damage, and she was raging, so Barbarian half damage, which made her 49 hit points roughly equal to nearly 100. They had the action economy because we had 3 characters hitting, plus the Witch Bolt triggering every turn, and I think I might have had a 12 or 2 just to get that guy down. And they were able to eventually wear him down and kill him deader than hell, which was kind of the goal and was fun. But we had to shorten the session because early departure. So a couple things I learned. Always plan on your party not having enough time to finish things. Now, on the plus side, they were able to loot, get their stuff, and apparently they got a lot of silver, more than they could carry, and they found some nice elvish cloaks, which impart advantage on stealth rolls, which is good when you have somebody like Greta wearing heavy armor wearing medium armor that imposes disadvantage. On the plus side, Greta did level up and got her constitution up another point, so now she's 1 point away from being able to not wear armor and still have an 18 armor class. At some point, she may lose the armor. I may throw a rust monster at him or something like that, because I just want to eat their equipment away and mess with them. So now that the party of players is headed back to California, so next time, the party will arrive in Oakhurst, and we will begin the delve into the Sunless Citadel. I'm going to give them 3 or 4 sessions to get through that, and I will get them to 6th level at the end of that. They're currently at 5th level, so that they can do some serious damage. At least 2 spells worth of serious fireball damage. So, that's pretty much it. I'm going to also be producing a video that will show you exactly how I built this adventure to some degree. There will be some pluses and minuses, and I can go over what I dropped and what I left out, because I had to leave things out because we lost a player in the middle of a fight, and it was the big fight. So if you like this stuff, if you're enjoying these things, like, subscribe, click the notification icon, all the crap that you're supposed to do to keep us making videos, because that stuff makes us want to make more videos rather than 1 and 2 views, half of which are generated by us checking from other computers. So until next time, see y'all.